Let's talk to Annabel Denham, because she is, of course, deputy commentator at The Telegraph. One here from Brian in Sheffield first. Morning, Mike. Great show. Ray reparations. Proof, if ever we needed it, that there's definitely no life on any other planets. If there was, we'd have sent them some money by now. Great show. Yeah, I know. Absolutely right. That would be the first thing Labour would do. Remember, if they discovered a new form of life outside the solar system, just give them some money. Take it off us. Annabel Denham's got something to say about this as well, because Rachel Reeves is, of course, claiming that she, over in America, is going to wipe away Britain's debt, not by paying it off, but just by pretending it isn't there. Annabel, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
Now, I said earlier on in the show, this is a bit like me, I'm probably going to bore a lot of people now, as I've said it about 5 times. This is a bit like me going to my mortgage company and saying, that mortgage that I've got, just get rid of it. Just don't bother with it anymore. I'm never going to give you any more money. And by the way, while you're getting rid of that, can you give me an extra 50 grand because I want to buy a new car?
Well, I think that's quite a good way of illustrating the situation we now seem to find ourselves in, Mike. Rachel Reeves is ultimately trying to have her fruit from the magic money tree and eat it too.
Right.
The problem we have in Britain is that there is no free money. In fact, there isn't really very much money at all, let alone free money. But what Rachel Reeves is trying to do is change the fiscal rules. And bang, by the way, goes another pre-election pledge.
Yes.
With that decision, in order that she will free up more cash, up to £50 billion to spend, she says, on infrastructure investment. Now, there could be a case to be made for the government investing more in longer-term projects. In fact, a big problem that we have in Britain today is the short-term mindset of so many of among the ruling class. But do any of us really have any faith that she's going to put that money towards the projects that are really going to growth? Is it going to go where it's most needed? And I'm afraid to say that recent British governments do not have a very good track record of these sorts of things. Look at HS2, and Labour, of course, have been said to be considering reviving the northern leg, despite the fact that there is no economic case for them to do so. Look at things like post office computerisation, that was such a disaster that people were wrongfully imprisoned as a result of it. And it's all very well them saying that they are going to put money towards infrastructure, they're going to initiate a building boom. They've already made the Lower Thames crossing, a decision on the Lower Thames crossing, which is definitely needed. So again, where's the money going to go? Is it going to go onto road, rail, hospital projects that could actually improve public services, improve life in Britain, or is it going to go on Labour pet projects?
Well, or is it going to end up in the hands of the Commonwealth, because of the sounds that are being made out of Samoa? You know, Keir Starmer appears to be sort of shuffling his position closer and closer to giving somebody something, you know. But I don't understand how they've gone from... I know she said that she's definitely not going to give this money to public sector pay rises, right? But they've gone from saying we discovered a £22 billion black hole that we didn't know was there, which was a lie, to suddenly turning into a £40 billion black hole, which they also didn't know was there, which is also a lie. So now saying, actually, we're going to make the black hole even bigger, and we're going to be a £100 billion black hole.
The black hole is just tautological. It's a way for Rachel Reeves to claim that she needs a certain amount of money to spend on public services, or on the government and government departments and public sector pay increases and all those sorts of things. But ever since they came into power, Mike, the Labour government has been trying to gaslight the British public.
Yes.
They've been spinning false narrative after fake narrative, trying to convince us that the situation was much worse than they said it could possibly, have been, and what a shock that came to them, despite the fact that anybody could have looked at the books and known that there was about £20 billion that would need to be found were we to maintain government spending at the levels of the previous Conservative government. The worst inheritance since the Second World War only applies if you ignore things like debt and growth and unemployment, all of which were lower in July this year than they were when Gordon Brown left office in 2010. Then you've got things like their tax promises. They don't seem able to define working people. In fact, they seem to be finding that still as define woman. But what they did say was that they were tax triple lock and that they wouldn't be increasing national insurance. Well, now they've changed their tune with a sort of sleight of hand by saying that perhaps they will actually be increasing employers' national insurance, which Rachel Reeves herself has said is a tax on jobs. I just think we're at the point now, Mike, where the British public cannot trust a single word that comes out of the mouth of the Labour Party.
No.
And that all we're going to have for the next 5 years is them making decisions which keep their union chums and the activists and the public sector workers happy at the expense of everybody else.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. And, I mean, the markets aren't too happy about it either because, I mean, there's already plenty of commentators out there who are saying, you know, isn't this going to crash the economy, or has she already crashed the economy? Bond yields went up yesterday quite high, to the highest point they've been for a while. You know, people are still pretty uncertain about the budget on Wednesday. There's a lot of hesitancy, shall we say, from business, particularly small business, wondering what to do about investment in their own business. Lots of people worried about the new workers' rights. Lots of people worried about their pensions and whether they should move them, whether they should, you know, I've been told by a lot of people in the business that there's an awful lot of money being moved around at the moment. Some of it's being moved out of the country, some of it's being moved out of pensions into cash, some of it's being put into gilts. You know, I mean, there's an awful lot of financial chicanery going on, should we say.
It's sort of grimly satisfying, I think, to watch Rachel Reeves have to face the accusations that she's spooking the markets, given the fact that she wasted no opportunity in accusing Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng of crashing the economy, when, of course, they did no such thing. Right. But no, incumbent on the Chancellor now to convince the markets that she is going to spend this money wisely. You're right that the gilt yields did increase yesterday in the aftermath of the news. The markets did calm in the afternoon, but there's nonetheless been an expansion between what's happening to gilts in the US and Germany and what's happening here in the UK. You're right as well about consumer and business confidence. So we had the FCA, the city watchdog, suggesting that people were making bad decisions in anticipation in terms of investment and so on. Savers making bad decisions in anticipation of the budget coming next week. Business confidence has fallen. We've seen them reducing their headcounts for the first time this year. Part of this is because Labour decided to hold their first fiscal statement 4 months after coming into power, which is an unusually long time. And I think it's been damaging for Labour because it's allowed economists to really scrutinise some of the policies that they were intending to bring in, right, and to expose just how little money they're likely to raise through things like a crackdown on nom-doms or VAT on private school fees. I think that's been very problematic for Labour, but clearly the uncertainty and the fact that this smorgasbord of tax rises has been kept on the table has also had an impact on business and consumer confidence. Yeah,
absolutely right. Good to talk to you, Annabel. We've got to run. Thank you very much indeed. Annabel Denham, there, Deputy Commentator from the Daily Telegraph. And